Hi guys, the Tories are very good at cooking the books when it comes to numbers of new police officers, new hospitals, economic growth and unemployment figures. So you can hardly expect Rishi Sunak not to engage in some creative accounting when he's talking about immigration. So you may remember recently where 30p Lee Anderson grilled a Home Office civil servant on the number of people who have arrived on small boats being sent to places like Romania. The bureaucrat at the time didn't have the figures. Well, they have returned, and this time they do, but it makes Rishi Sunak look a bit bad. Have a listen.
So this relates to just those Albanians who will have come in small boats. We will have returned Albanians who will have either come through other routes into the UK, irregularly or clandestinely, Albanians who are here who came lawfully but then overstayed, or Albanians who were foreign national offenders. So when the Prime Minister is talking about the increase of removals to Albania, he is talking about the total number of people that we have returned to Albania under our agreement, which is the 5,000.
I need to stop you there. I'm sorry, I have to disagree, because on the government website in front of me, there is a quote from the Prime Minister that says, last year, a third of all those arriving in small boats
Correct.
were Albanian.
Yes.
This year we have returned 5,000 people and cut those arrivals by 90%. And Albanian arrivals have far more recourse to the courts than anyone under this new legislation. That's why I'm so confident that this bill will work. I don't understand your explanation.
They are different things, if I may. So the Prime Minister's statement is correct. We have returned more than 5,000 people to Albania. The stats on those arriving in small boats has also cut by 90%, but they are different subsets of data.
Of the 5,000 people, what proportion had arrived in small boats then?
So it will be the number of 762, but that's since 2020. So our returns in 2023 of Albanian small boat arrivals, and they may have arrived in a different period, because if people have asylum claims or other claims, their removal and their arrival may not be in the same reporting period. To June 2023, January to June 2023, it's the 531 Albanian returns in small boats.
It says, the Prime Minister says, this year we have returned 5,000 people.
Yes, we have returned 5,000 people. The chart in the Permanent Secretary's letter only relates to those who have arrived on small boat. The Prime Minister's is all Albanian removals who have no lawful right to be in the United Kingdom.
So just to clarify what's happening here, Rishi Sunak is using a figure of 5,000. People within the Conservative Party and the media believe it's 5,000 people who have arrived on small boats. But it's not 5,000 people who have arrived on small boats. It's more like 500 people, more or less, who have arrived on small boats. See, the likes of Lee Anderson and the other headbangers within the Conservative Party were under the impression, okay, Rishi Sunak has told us 5,000 people who arrived across the channel in small boats have been sent to Romania. And that's not the case. It's 5,000 people who have been picked up because they have overstayed their visa or have entered the UK in other ways, have committed some sort of crime. So it's, once again, it's a case of telling the public one thing, telling the MPs the same thing, but the reality being very different. See, they have to be dishonest because they don't understand how things work. Rishi Sunak couldn't come out and say, actually, we failed. I'm sorry. We wanted to send 5,000 people who had crossed the channel in small boats to Romania, but we can't do that because we have to respect international law and British law. There are ins and outs that we can't deal with. See, this whole problem stems from the time of Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson would dictate something, say, okay, do this, and expect it to be implemented. But he had no understanding of how the government actually works. He had no understanding of how ministries work. You can't just say, do something, and it gets implemented. For a whole number of reasons. In particular, while you'll be in office for maybe 5 years or maybe even 10 years, there are civil servants who have been working in that service for 20, 30, 40 years even. And they're not going to throw their entire career away because Boris Johnson or Rishi Sunak or Theresa May or Liz Truss has to keep a bunch of racists and bigots happy. They're not going to break the law. They're not going to put their neck on the line. Why should they? Why should they try to satisfy people like Lee Anderson? Lee Anderson will be gone soon. Their career is important to them, of course. It's they needed to pay their bills, to pay the bills, to pay the mortgage, pay the rent, whatever it is. They're not going to put it on the line for Lee Anderson or some headbanger within the Conservative Party. But since the time of Boris Johnson, they don't understand that the Home Office in particular is complicated. They have to respect rules. They have to respect internal regulations. They have to respect British law and international law. You can't just say something and it gets done. So this is why Rishi Sunak is attempting to cook the books. He's trying to manipulate the figures because he needs to keep crazy people on board. Convince them we're sending 5,000 people who've crossed the channel illegally, quote unquote, to Romania. When in reality, it's let's collect as many people as we can, people who have overstayed their visa, people who've committed a crime or whatever, and present it as the 5,000 people who have crossed the channel. It's dishonest, but this is the situation we're in. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.